get through it.
Okay.
All right, so we're live. So anyway, this is Daniel with Critical Image Media. So we're live on Shane's channel right now. Whoever's joining in and watching. Basically, just a quick broadcast here to kind of do a little interview with Shane Sparks, the infamous Shane Sparks. Hopefully, if any of you guys are joining in and taking a gander, you're going to see here that we are just doing a quick podcast. But, you know, just a quick background on myself. So I actually help manage Shane, right? And we kind of done a lot of work together over the past couple of years to build his social media. And we've really got a long ways. So I just thought I'd bring him on my podcast to kind of explain to you guys, especially on YouTube that are watching him, what it took for him to get where he is at and, you know, where we're going right now. So anyway, Shane, introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? My name is Shane Sparks, currently living in Las Vegas. I've been here for 3 years, but I am a Michigan native. I was born and raised on a small farm in southern Michigan.
So Shane, let me ask you a question. So when you were young, when you were a kid, do you feel like you had like entrepreneurial skills? Like, was this something that was kind of ingrained in you? Did you have your own lemonade stand or?
Well, actually, my father was a carpenter. So since I was a young boy, my dad was taking me on job sites and we were doing construction work. We were trimming out houses. We were laying hardwood floors. So I learned a lot about construction and carpentry work at a young age. And actually, before I even left the farm, I was actually making some money on my own with my own tools and my own setup. So yeah, I was definitely had the entrepreneur mindset at an early age.
So let me ask you a question. I know you've made some like past YouTube videos about kind of like where you grew up, and you know, from my understanding, you had a very what would have been called conservative childhood. You know, you were raised in a Amish style community. I mean, how did that play a role in like where you feel you're today? Let me ask you a question. I always wonder this. So let's say, you know, you have a lot of people that when they were younger, you know, their parents were very strict or they were very, you know, like your parents were. Do you think that like caused you to more or less act out as you were older, or no?
Yeah, I feel like 100% since I was sheltered so much that it kind of like it drove me towards that freedom, you know, like wanting to see what life was like on the other side of all these rules and the traditions that my parents kept. But I think looking back, I experienced that because, I mean, honestly, not a whole lot of people have experienced a childhood like what I did. It was pretty crazy. It was really strict. It was just crazy, but I'm glad that I experienced it so I can relate to the other people. Like there's a lot of other kids out there who are growing up in sheltered families like that, and they're going through the same stuff that I went through. So it's kind of cool that I went through that. So like I can relate to those people. There's not many people like that, but I can relate to those people.
I mean, it's just kind of funny because I grew up completely the opposite. You know what I mean? Like I kind of did whatever the heck I wanted and watched whatever TV I wanted. My parents weren't strict, and it's just, you know, it's hard for someone else to relate like what it was like to grow up in such a conservative home. So wait, from my understanding, you guys didn't have a TV?
No, we had no internet. We had no television. I wasn't really allowed off the farm unless I was going to a job site with my father to do construction work. But other than that, I was not allowed off the farm. I didn't really have any friends. I was homeschooled all my life. So my mother took care of my academics. And yeah, man, I didn't really leave the farm and explore life until I was like 21 years old.
So wait,
so
you
there's
didn't,
a lot
you
I
didn't,
had. I wasn't familiar with like current movies or movie stars or music or anything really going on in the world. I was not familiar with any of it. Drinking, drugs, the party scene, all that. Had no clue.
so you didn't even go to a public, like not even a private school?
No.
You just were homeschooled the whole time. Have you
Yeah,
ever
so
been to public
really
school?
my parents really tried to shelter me from any boy and girl interaction. Like they don't believe that boys hang out with girls and that sort of thing. They don't believe in dating. They believe in courtship. And their plan was for me to have a courtship with another young lady from the Amish community, and then eventually marry her and have my own farm and my own family.
It's funny you say the word courtship. Like right now on Netflix, I'm watching the show called Bridgerton, and it's like from the old English days, and they use that courtship like all the time, and they're always trying to arrange marriages. So wait, you never went to any public school or even private school at all?
No.
Never.
No.
You never set foot inside of a school?
Never set foot inside of a public or a private school.
That's wild. So let me ask you a question.
And honestly, I was kind of envious of the kids that did get to go to school, because I hear my friends nowadays, they talk about how they hated school and everything, but I'm like, well, I was kind of jealous. Like I would have loved to go to school and get to hang out with all the kids at recess and have friends and maybe be involved in sports or band or whatever. I didn't get to do any of that.
Let me ask you a question though. Do you feel like the way you were raised helped at least maybe shape you to be a better person later in life?
Yes, for sure.
Definitely. So, it's like I always say, like, I always watch a lot of Gary Vee or Gary Vaynerchuk, and, his parents were from Russia, and they were very strict, more or less, and they instilled in him to make sure they worked very hard. And, he feels like that, like a lot of like foreign people or people from other countries or Arabic style people that were raised in those like really, conservative style homes where their parents like taught them good values, definitely feel like that helped their like life skills later in life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my father taught me hard work is a virtue. I learned how to work hard. I learned how to work on a project until it's completed. I learned, like I said, I learned a lot of entrepreneur skills just, working along with my father, who owned his own construction company. So I got to see how all that kind of worked out, and I even started doing a little bit of it on my own while I was there.
So now that you're older, do you regret that you were raised like that?
No, not at all. I mean, it was a very boring time in my life, and sometimes I wish I had not waited until I was 21 to leave. But it was a good thing that I went through that, because like I said before, like I would have never been able to relate to the people. I mean, there's a lot of kids, like my parents, they knew other families that were living and raising their families like they were. We would meet together on Sundays. We didn't go to church because my parents could not find any churches that were conservative enough for them, for their beliefs. So we found these little underground network groups of families that were all trying to like live the same way, and we would take turns meeting in their houses for the Bible study. So I know there were other young kids there, and a lot of them were like not really happy with the way of life that their parents had chosen either. So it's good that I went through that so I can relate to those people.
So now that whole community that you lived in, it wasn't just your family that lived like that. There was a lot of other families.
Not a lot, but there were a few. And like I said, when we would meet together on Sundays, I mean, some of these families were driving a half hour to an hour just to go to the meeting, and there was only like 6 to 10 families meeting every Sunday.
That's wild.
And we didn't even go every Sunday. We didn't even go every Sunday. If my parents weren't feeling the vibe, we would just stay home on Sunday, and my dad would give a Bible study at home.
Wow, that's crazy. So, so you left when you're 21. So explain to me a little bit, like, what made you like say I gotta get out of here, or like I just can't take this no more? Like where was that point where you were like, I'm gone, I gotta go?
I was kind of getting to that point when I was like 18 years old. Like I just really started butting heads with my parents, because as I started getting closer to my 20s, they started pushing the courtship on me harder and harder. Like they really wanted me to marry one of these girls in the community, and they actually, I mean, it almost happened with a couple different girls in the community. They tried to get me hooked up with. And like I liked the idea of getting married, because that was my door to leaving the farm. But my parents don't believe that the young men are to leave their parents until they're married. So marriage to me was a door of opportunity to leave the farm. But in order to leave on their terms, I had to marry a girl that they kind of pre-approved. So it didn't work out with either of the girls because when it came right down to it, I was honest with my parents and I was like, listen, like, I really don't want my wife to wear dresses all the time. And I'm not trying to like avoid beaches all my life. I kind of want to go to beaches someday. I want to go to water parks. I want to do fun things. I'd like my wife to wear a bikini someday too.
Oh
And I
my
was
God,
just
that's
honest with
crazy.
them, and they did not like that. And the one girl's father, she was like, "Well, isn't going to work." I'm like, well,
So let me ask you another question. So you're 21 years old. And you're like, all right,
what's that?
yeah. So I don't know if we have a little audio problem here in our podcast. Let me take a look. Hold on. So just for the audience that's listening, this is our first live podcast that we're doing. So hold on. Let me.
I can
pull
hear
up.
you great.
You can hear me great?
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing, so you're 21 years old. You're like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm leaving the farm. And like,
Right.
where's the first place that you went?
So actually, I actually owned a house when I left my parents' house. So when I worked doing construction work with my father, I kept saving money, and I finally had a down payment ready to place on a house, and I actually bought a house like 15 minutes away from my parents' place. Um, I bought it with the intention of like, okay, once I have a house, if I ever need to leave my parents, I can leave. But I bought that and told them that I wasn't leaving. I was just gonna like fix up the house on the weekends and work on it, and then I was gonna turn around and flip it and sell it. So they thought it was gonna be an investment, but like in the back of my mind, I was like, well, once I buy this place, I'm probably gonna move there. So
So,
that's what happened. I moved there.
so wait, like, how far was the house from your community where you grew up?
About 15 minutes.
Okay, so you were still like in the
Yeah,
area.
I was in the town. Yeah,
So, all right. So now I met you. I don't know. It's been about 10 years ago.
yeah.
10 years ago,
Wow.
and you were
Yeah.
already living in Detroit.
Yes.
So where's the point where you were like, all right, I'm moving to Metro Detroit or by Detroit because you live down a little bit lower Michigan. If everyone
Yes, I
understands,
lived in
like,
South Central Michigan. So basically, where I lived, I could be in Indiana or Ohio in 30 minutes. I was like
okay.
right there by the border.
So
But
for
in
people that
two,
don't know, we always use our hand here, Michiganders, to explain where we
yeah. So
live.
if this is Michigan,
You were like right here, right?
I was like right down here.
The only state where you can use your hand.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for real.
so now like you're like, all right, I'm out of here. And what made you move to Metro Detroit? Do you know people around there or what?
So I lost my job in the little town of Hillsdale where I lived. In 2008, I just got laid off. It was kind of a depression going on at the time in the economy. Lost my job without warning, and there wasn't many other jobs in that town. So I decided just to move closer to the city. I figured there'd be more opportunities, and I would just make more connections. So I just up and moved to Wixom, Michigan, and got a little apartment out there. And I actually got a job at J.C. Penney.
Oh
And
my God.
I just helped people load up their furniture that they bought, and I would go around and collect the hangers from the cash registers. I did all the grunt work, but
So
paying the bills.
so now listen, all right. So obviously, like if people seen the thumbnail to the video, we're trying to lead to where you're at now. So I know there's a part in here like I built your website, so if you guys go to
Right.
sparksgowild.com, it kind of talks about Amish to where you were at. So where now you're living in Metro Detroit, you're working at JC Penney, you're
Yep.
already married to Miss Stacy, right?
Yep.
And we kind of skipped over that because you met Miss Stacy back in Hillsdale in the little Amish
Yeah.
community.
Yep.
She was raised the
She
same
grew up
way.
in a Baptist family, and she left when she was 18 for the same reasons I left. She wanted more freedom. And when we met, we kind of hit it right off. And then she moved in with me, and we went to the courthouse. We eloped together, so we were legally married. So if our parents found out, they couldn't really, preach to us about living together without being married. So Yeah, we moved to Metro Detroit together. Like I said, I worked at JCPenney. Stacy worked at Myers. But then eventually Stacy got a job at Hooters. And then one of the girls at Hooters hooked her up with an agency to do private bachelor parties. And that's when Stacy started stripping for private parties. And that's when she started to make better money than we had ever made before. And eventually I started dancing for the same agency. And so we were both dancing. And then we both started making good money. We were no longer living paycheck to paycheck. We had a little bit of money to play with and have fun with. We started going out. We started drinking a little more. We got involved in the party scene. I became a promoter. And
So that's where the inevitable stripping comes into play. So you're living in Metro Detroit. Stacy starts now. I know she's not here or whatever to speak for herself, but so was she uncomfortable when she got into that profession?
Not really. She called me on the phone. I remember. She's like, "Hey," she's like, "Would you mind if I did a party with my girlfriend here from Hooters?" And she's saying I can make like $200 or $300 in one night. And to us, that was a lot of money. Like we were working all week for $200 or $300. So I was all about it. I was like, go for it. Let's see what we can do.
So it's like the introduction to every stripper's career is the infamous Hooters. I always notice that. So like if you meet any stripper and you find out where they worked before they were stripping,
hey, it's a good stepping stone, honestly.
Yeah. Hooters is the gateway to stripping. So now you guys are living in Metro Detroit. I mean, I'm trying to think when I met you. It's been, like I said, maybe 8 years now. So just trying to like fast forward, because when you moved there, you were living in like Farmington Hills or something like that, right?
Yeah, probably Novi.
Yeah. So, and now when we met, you were already what we call here in Metro Detroit, we call the East Side. So you were living on the West Side, and I met you on the East Side. So when you moved over to the East Side, at that point, you guys were both stripping, right?
Yep.
Right. So that's when you were introduced to, let me say, like money, like, you know what I mean? Like when you were like, I'm all right. Now I kind of feel what it's like to make some good money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, did you find at that point, did your family know what you were doing in Metro Detroit?
We tried to hide it from them, but they actually found out. And I mean, they didn't talk to us much anyway. So when they did find out and weren't too pleased, I mean, it wasn't much different, you know.
So now when I met you, I know that like I always noticed your biggest thing was Snapchat. So like everywhere we went, like I remember because I had a girlfriend at the time, and I would me and my girlfriend would break up, and I'd come hang out with you, and I'd be like, fuck, dude, if I'm going to hang out with this kid, dude, he's going to have me on Snapchat. And I mean, I think I remember like we'd hang out. I'd be like, dude, just like leave me out of the Snapchats. Because, dude, my girlfriend at the time was kind of crazy, and I know she's going to be like, what are you doing, right? So Snapchat is kind of where you started this whole little film career, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of funny because a lot of people, I guess they would think, are they going to become, you know, get into a film career because they're doing Snapchat? I would say it's probably the last place people would start. You know, obviously most people, if they're doing a film career, start in film school, in which you didn't do. Yeah. So explain to me, how did you get involved in Snapchat? Like, what made you first like download that app and like get interested? Was it just because it was popular, and then like once you like caught onto it, you just fell in love with it?
Yeah, I feel like I downloaded it in 2013, and I would just I don't know, like I didn't really use it a whole lot at the time, but as I started to see the popularity of it, I would start snapping more and more. Like I said, I was a stripper. Stacy was a stripper. We were going to parties all the time and after parties. Like we had a lot of crazy stuff going on. We were hanging out with a lot of girls, a lot of other strippers. So my Snapchats were pretty interesting. I mean, there was a lot of crazy stuff going on there. And Snapchat also, it gave me the opportunity to get familiar with actually being on camera. So when I would talk to the Snapchat, it was like same thing as like vlogging, you know, so I didn't realize it, but Snapchat was actually preparing me for vlogging.
Like, because I know a lot of people, like even myself. So I like have my own media company. I'm always giving you advice on videos to make, what to do. And it's kind of funny because I have probably the smallest following, and I'm like really great at giving advice on what people need to do on media, but I can, it's almost like very hard to execute myself. So even like doing this podcast lately, or like starting my YouTube channel back up, like speaking into that camera, like there's that, I don't know, you know, like I think
Yeah.
I think what we do is we like judge ourselves before anyone else judges us. You know, it's just kind of
Right.
like the natural uncomfortability. So
Yeah.
just using
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Snapchat, see what you were saying is you didn't realize that you were actually vlogging, and it just got you
Yeah,
that comfort in
exactly.
front of the camera. Now, are you
Exactly.
ever or a little bit still a little camera shy?
Uncomfortable? Not really. No, there is sometimes I just like won't feel like it. I won't be in the groove. But honestly, if I, hit one of these little guys, little sativa,
It
it'll
takes
usually
away that
bounce me right
anxiety.
back in the mood. Yeah, it gets me going.
But there's no times where you're holding that phone up and you're like feeling like, what about vlogging in public? Are you good at vlogging in public?
I'm getting better. Yes,
But that's still like a hurdle that everyone
it
overcomes.
is. Yeah,
So
it
it's like you
is.
go in front of a big crowd, you got a camera in front of your face,
Yeah,
and that's what you do. You do that self judgment, like what are all these people
exactly.
thinking about
Yeah,
me? But it's so
you can't
funny.
care about people watching. You can't really like give a fuck about any of that.
And I
So
think what it is like just like I said, we're always like self judging ourselves. But I mean, the people that like if you're like you live in Las Vegas, if you're downtown Las Vegas, even if someone's looking over at you, like I always,
right.
I started watching a lot of like videos on like how to vlog in public and stuff. And I mean, you're never going to see those people again, right? So I mean, it
No.
doesn't really matter what they think. And
Right.
just for like the people that are watching, the people that are going to watch this video, what
Mhm.
is a way that you can tell people how to maybe overcome that fear of being in front of the camera? Any like tricks, trades, anything you used or?
Well, being in Las Vegas honestly helps. Like just the fact that like being downtown on the strip, like with so many people out there on the strip, there's other people doing the same thing. So if you can like go to a place where like there's other people doing that too, it helps you be less uncomfortable. You're not like the only person in the crowd doing that. Like there's other people doing that too.
I
So,
mean, it seems like now, like it just is starting to become like the norm. You know what I mean? Especially with
mm,
like TikTok getting so big. I
right.
remember, I think it was like a month or two ago, I was at Walmart, like buying something. Bam, I look over, there's like two teenagers that they got a tripod like in the middle of the aisle. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just like, there's some TikTokers. So, like you
Yeah. Right
said,
there.
it's becoming the new norm. It's just
Yeah.
being in front of the camera, like creating
Yeah, for
content.
sure.
And it's just it's weird to see like all this evolve. Like, see, I know I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 43. So when I was young or a teenager, definitely we didn't have a cell phone. I had a beeper.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I got a beeper or a pager when I was in like 8th grade. I used to
Yeah.
walk 2 miles to the payphone. And
Yeah,
I
for real.
definitely wasn't holding no damn camera. I think we had like a
No.
Polaroid and you had to go get your film developed and shit. But
Yeah.
it's just weird to see like where this like whole era is going to like TikTok and YouTube becoming influencers.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy.
now, so you're living in Detroit, and at that time it was you, Stacy, and you guys had a girlfriend, right? At that
Yes,
time,
we
yeah. So
Stacey and I were dating a girl together.
I think that's when I met you. I was like, wait, hold on, this guy's got. Hold on, he's got two girls. Like he's in a relationship with two people. So I think that's probably what created a lot of people to follow you, because not
Yeah.
a lot of people have a
Yeah.
relationship with
Yeah,
a guy
exactly.
and two girls. You know what I mean? So I think
Right.
probably created some of that like juice around like your life. So you
Oh, it
guys are
did for
living here in
sure.
Detroit, and I remember you even said you're like, all right, we're moving to Las Vegas, and I was like,
Yep.
okay, well, like what's in Las Vegas? What was in Las Vegas? Like, why'd you move there? Is it
We
just the
didn't know,
place you
dude. We were
chose?
just looking for something different. We had like, when we were dating our former girlfriend, like she was a dancer, Stacy was a dancer, and I was a dancer. So we were making decent money, and we saved up. I mean, we had like over $10,000 saved up, and so we were like, "Hey, what can we do with this money?" We're like, "Well, we could move." We were like, "Where would we move to?" And like, of course, we were doing well in Detroit. We're like, "Well, let's go be strippers in Las Vegas, and we'll become millionaires." Like that was our mindset.
Yeah.
So that's honestly what drew us to Las Vegas in the first place, but it didn't quite happen with the stripping industry out here.
All right, so let's talk about the road trip to Las Vegas. So you guys hop in the car.
Yep.
It took you guys. You guys didn't just go straight to Vegas. You did a little bit of stop and go, right?
The first time we moved here, we went pretty much straight through.
Straight
Yeah.
through. So
Yeah.
now, this kind of gets into like if you guys watch some of his YouTube videos, scroll back and watch his videos. You got like a 4-part series, and it's called "Homeless to a Porn Star."
Right.
So now, just understand the story, right? So you drive all the way to Vegas, and at that point, didn't you have a promise to have a job when you got there?
Yes, I did.
So you get there and necessarily don't have that job, right?
Yeah, everything fell through. Like our housing situation fell through. We were supposed to live with my buddy, but then his girlfriend moved in, so we couldn't stay there. And yeah, dude, it didn't things didn't work out here. The stripping scene wasn't what we thought it was going to be, and yeah, we had to make other arrangements. So we ended up living out of our car for a while. Because I refused to get a normal 9 to 5 job. That's basically what it was. I mean, I could have got a job somewhere and, had a roof over my head. But at the time, I didn't want a roof over my head bad enough to where I was going to dedicate to a 9 to 5 job. I just couldn't see myself doing that because in my mind, I was determined to make a living somehow doing what I was passionate about, and that was Snapchat, filming, and vlogging. And I didn't know how that was going to work out, but I knew it wasn't going to work out for sure if I gave my time to another company. So I refused to do that, and we lived out of our car in a hidden tent for a little while until things started working out.
And it's funny. That's what I've been like making videos about lately. Is like, I sold cars for 19 years. Which was a commission-based job. I was kind of in charge of my own pay and stuff, but it was that 9 to 5, man. Like, getting up in the morning, you got to be at work at 8:30 in the morning. You got to stay there till 6:30 at night. And man, I'm not gonna lie to you, it took a toll on me, and just to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore, man,
Right.
And obviously, like the majority of people in America, I think that's just what we're ingrained to do. Like, back in the day, in the 50s and 60s, I mean, you went and you applied for a job, you got that job, you worked at that job, and you came home. This whole like entrepreneurial, lifestyle that's like growing right now is kind of like new, more or less to say, and it's kind of weird because I just wish more people understood that if they like found something they were passionate about, they can probably turn it into a career. I just made a video. It's kind of funny. And I made this video, and I got in an argument with a friend about it. I actually asked a friend that's like kind of an entrepreneur here in Michigan. Marijuana is legal and he sells weed for a living. And I was like, dude, why don't you come on my podcast? I'm just kind of talking about how people excel during COVID. And it was weird. His reaction was like totally different than what I thought. He's like, what are you going to go brag for about how great you did in COVID when people don't have a job and stuff? And I gave him this scenario. I go, all right, so you're a waitress or a bartender, you're laid off, right? You got 2 kids, you have no job. But what if in high school or as you were a kid, you were always good at sketching people's, like sketching portrait art? Like go on Facebook, find a picture of a kid, someone's child, sketch it out. Take a picture of it, send it back in Messenger, and go, hey, listen, I sell these for $25. Like, what person's not going to buy a picture sketched out of their child that looks awesome? Put it in a frame, sell for $25. Do 4 of those a week. It's $100. It was just like an example. I mean, for people that are watching, like me and Shane are both now at this point where we like started doing stuff to follow our passion. I started my own media company, and like, there's such an opportunity for people if they just looked a little bit further into like what they do to like help them become, successful in what they do.
It's even easier in this day and age with the iPhone. You can do so much with these things right here. We have it a lot easier than people did, let's say 10 or 20 years ago before we had all this technology in the palm of our hand.
Well, before, if you wanted to advertise for your business, there was what Gary Vaynerchuk calls a gatekeeper. So like if you want to advertise, there's a gatekeeper. Like you can't just get on TV. You can't just get on the radio. You got to get by somebody to do it, and then you got to pay a bunch of money. And now with this, it's free. So people that aren't starting a business under their own passion, it's wild how there's so many people just complaining about their job loss, but they could be picking something else up and starting something.
Yeah, they could. Yeah,
so
for sure.
Not to get off the subject. So now you're in Vegas. Homeless, right? You're living in this little 82 Rabbit or Volkswagen Rabbit. What year is that thing?
Yeah.
So you're living in the wood, or not the woods, but the desert, right? Hidden behind trees.
Yeah.
And now at this point, where did you decide? All right, I'm successful. I got a ton of Snapchat followers. I want to do film. Like, where did you decide that you weren't gonna like start a YouTube channel, but you're like, well, I might move into adult film. Like, what made you decide? Like, all right, I'm gonna
So
do porn. Like, where did that come from?
So actually, when I was homeless, I was really passionate about starting a YouTube channel, and like I was determined to like start putting videos out every week. And I had my MacBook, and I had a GoPro with the little gimbal, so I had like basic. I had an iPhone too, so I had basic equipment to actually make videos. Like my MacBook, even though I was homeless, like my MacBook was, probably my most valuable asset at the time. But then the logic board went bad on my MacBook, and so I couldn't even use my laptop anymore because I took it to an Apple store and it was a $700 fix, and I didn't have $700 at the time, so I couldn't even use my laptop anymore. So I was totally reliant on my cell phone to make content. And so like I said, we were doing the Snapchat thing. We were offering some like exclusive snaps, and we had some faithful followers who were helping us out with there, just enough money to keep our bills paid, like our phone turned on and gas in the car. But every night in the tent, I'd be laying in the tent. I'd be on my phone going on Craigslist looking for gigs or jobs or trying to find something in the film industry. And I found this one photographer. He put an ad up. He was looking for a couple to film for a porn channel, and he was offering $300. And so that was actually like the first step me and Stacy took. We talked about it. We were like, should we do this? We could really use $300. And the guy was super nice. He offered to take us to dinner and meet him and his wife. She was super cool. She was a makeup artist. Super cool people. We were really comfortable. So we filmed our first scene with him. And he paid us $300. And then after that scene, he said, hey, we can continue to do it scene by scene if you want to keep making $300 per scene, or you can open up a Pornhub channel and we can like build it together and split it 50-50. He gets 50% for filming and editing. We get 50% for being the models. So I'm trying to think long term. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's do let's do this 50-50 deal. And but Stacy and I, one of the conditions is we wanted the content to be different than most mainstream porn, and we actually requested the photographer to shoot some outdoor content with us. And so that was the agreement, and he never did shoot any outdoor content with us. They're always making excuses. It was too hot or too cold, the weather wasn't right. And so we kept filming with him. We actually filmed like 5 or 6 scenes with him. Usually he would get a room at one of the casinos in town, and we would film there. And we opened a Pornhub channel together. Well, I opened it, and I shared the password with him. That's what happened. We called it Sparks Go Up. I shared it with him so he could post the content, and he only posted one video that shot him for a while because he was a full-time photographer, so I knew he was busy with other clients or whatever. So it was like a few months after, he kind of lost touch with us. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, you cut out for a minute. The lag.
Okay, so like we lost touch with him, and he only posted one of the videos that we shot with him. And Stacy and I were, we were getting kind of antsy. We're like, man, we could really be pushing this a whole lot faster if we did it ourselves. So we made the decision to change the password, cut him out of the equation, and start filming it ourselves. I told her, I said, listen, I'll learn how to edit. I'll learn how to run a camera. I'll learn how to do this stuff. And we'll do it outdoors like we originally wanted to do. We wanted to go hiking and have sex outdoors because when we were homeless, we didn't have a house to have sex in. So we were having sex outside when we would go hiking. We would hook up out there in the mountains. So that's the type of content we wanted to share on our channel because that was the reality of the situation. We were hooking up outside because we had no house to hook up inside. So,
and I feel like that's kind of what excelled you guys on that platform. So like you said, like most people that are in that adult industry, it's the old pizza guy knocks on the door,
right,
dreamy look. You know what I'm saying? Like in the mansion or in the backyard.
Or any one of those platforms, and you look at all the thumbnails, just look at the thumbnails. They're all indoors. They're either on a couch or on a bed or somewhere. But if you go to our channel you look at the thumbnails and you see a blue sky in the thumbnails, you see
Yeah.
mountains. It looks more intriguing. Like, oh, what's this? You know what I'm saying? So
So, it's kind of funny. So the way, just background how I got involved to helping Shane is like, I just remember like we would just chat on the phone. Then I'd watch like a video that he put on YouTube, and I'm a social media junkie. So like I follow just nonstop social media, YouTube. I consume so much of it, and I would start giving him advice, and then I would give him some advice, and he'd be like, "Holy shit, dude, that advice paid off."
right.
And that's kind of how me and Shane got involved with each other, is just like me giving him free advice. And like it's funny, I started my company, and I made a video a little bit back, and I was like, I did so much work for free, not just for you guys, but like for so many people. And I just like basically was like, hey, you want a business card made? All right, I just did it for free. People are like, you got the worst
Right.
business plan ever. So now you guys, so you basically like, you got to say, like, I understand that Snapchat is kind of what got you into it, but like the hub, I know we're on YouTube, so I don't know
Mm.
where we're allowed to say or not. And but
Well, we
anyway,
all know what the
Pornhub is
hub
where you
is.
built that main following, correct?
Yes.
Right. That's
Yes.
kind of what
100%.
launched Sparks Go Wild.
Yes.
Would you?
So I posted our videos on the outdoor videos that we made. I posted them on our Pornhub profile for, I want to say like 3 months or so, 3 or 4 months, without really getting much recognition. But then I remember Pornhub featured one of our videos, and that got us like over 1 million views overnight. And that's what really got us a lot of global publicity. They sent a lot of more subscribers to our page. People started finding out about us, and they're like, "Well, look, these people are actually doing porn differently. They're doing it outdoors, and it's a real couple. They go hiking and they have sex outside." And it was a cool thing, and a lot of people liked it.
So now wait on that channel, on that page, you guys have 54 million views.
Yeah, yeah, somewhere around there,
Yeah,
over
I think the
50
last time I looked,
million.
it was like 54 million. So
Okay,
now from that point, I know. Remember, we first started talking, and I kept telling you guys, like, I kept saying, dude, you guys should start making some YouTube channels, make YouTube videos, make
right.
YouTube videos, which you started to do, and we're building a pretty good platform out of that.
Yeah.
But are you wanting to get like away from the adult film at all? Are you still wanting to kind of like stick in it, or would you like to move out of it into more
I
of the
don't know. I
platform of
would like to
YouTuber?
do. I don't want to do that forever. I kind of want to move on to like something. Well, I don't know. In the back of my mind, I guess I want to share something with the world that is positive and uplifting, and like kind of, we all want to make the world a better place somewhat. And I'm not saying porn can't do that, but I think porn, the way we present it, does kind of throw a new twist on it. Like, hey, porn is not porn, sex is part of a healthy lifestyle. It really is. Like we're sexual creatures. We were created to have sex. There's nothing taboo about that. And you can go hiking and have sex while you're hiking. It's a good thing. And we've got lots of positive feedback from other couples telling us how we have inspired them to start hooking up more frequently outside. So it's kind of a cool
I
feeling,
guess.
but
Well,
I
I
don't
guess
want to
what
do it
I always
forever.
figure is the adult film industry. The only problem with it is it limits your audience. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
Not. I mean,
sure.
limits it
Yeah,
to a point where you can't cross it across every platform. You're kind of like limited to that platform.
exactly.
You know.
And I do
So
know that a lot of my family, they don't watch porn. And even my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, like that. I mean, if they do, they're not open about it. But I kind of want to do something big with my life that can be more open with my family, to the point where like my parents will see it someday, and they'll see something really good that I'm doing with my life. So maybe my YouTube channel can be something like that. I'm also writing some songs. I'm getting ready to record some songs and film some music videos. So I'm curious to see where that leads.
So can I ask you, just kind of lead back to your parents? Do you still feel like there's something left in you where you just are seeking your parents' approval?
I would probably say honestly yes, even though I'm trying to like get rid of that, because like I was never ever good enough growing up. And I mean, I don't think they'll ever admit to me actually doing something good with my life, but it would be really cool to like just to have the knowledge that they saw me doing something big with my life. And to me, that, you know what, that would mean like getting one of my songs written, like recorded, and then a music video, a really cool music video professionally made where it
Yep.
can go on YouTube. I really want that to happen. So like my aunts and uncles will see it. I know they're going to show all my cousins. I know my parents will see it too. I kind of want everyone to see me doing something good with and big with my life.
Yeah, which makes sense because that
Outside of porn. Outside of porn.
yeah, I mean, it goes back to the values you were raised up on. You want to find a way to kind
Right.
of like help people,
Yeah.
not have people look at you in a negative manner.
Yeah.
So right now, I know you're not off of the Pornhub channel. So your biggest new, like, I guess, adventure or thing where you're being the most successful or financially successful is OnlyFans, correct?
OnlyFans. Yeah.
Yeah. So during COVID, is it just me or everyone and their mother has decided they're going to start an OnlyFans?
Yeah. A lot of people did. It definitely went up a lot since COVID.
And like OnlyFans is just a platform where, I mean, and necessarily an OnlyFans doesn't have to be a platform where it's just sex, though, right? I mean, there's a
No, you
lot of
can
like
post
models
whatever
and
you
things
want
like
on
that.
there. Yeah, whatever type of content you want to post on your OnlyFans platform, I mean, that's up to you, and it's up to you to network yourself, to find the people that are willing to support you with your monthly subscription or however you're charging them to enjoy your content, whatever that is. I know there's a lady on there who she plays the harp. She has this great big giant harp, and she plays the harp, and she has subscribers that support her on there just to listen to her harp songs. So it doesn't have to be porn. That was my niche, and so that's mostly what's on my OnlyFans.
Now, are you mixing it up on that platform, though? Are you actually like throwing in some like non stuff that has to do with sex, like
Oh,
regular
100%.
vlogs?
Yeah, we do most of our vlogging, like, because I realize that even in the porn industry, what a lot of people enjoy is actually knowing about these porn actors, like the people having sex. You typically don't know much about the porn actors. So on our channel, Stacy and I are the actors, but we also on a daily basis we're vlogging our life on our OnlyFans. So people can, when they subscribe, they get access to everything that we've made in the past, and every day they get to see what we're up to. Like we go to the gym and we work out, we share our diet, we can go grocery shopping, the types of food that we buy, the fun that we have with our dogs and our friends. Like they kind of get a glimpse into our everyday life as real people. And I think that's cool.
They're getting to know who you are, like you said. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like Ron Jeremy, the biggest supposable porn star ever. Like no one really knows who he is or like what he does on a
Right.
daily basis. So
Right.
I think that like lets people in on like wanting to like feed and gravitate more to you, like because they at least know you as a person. So I'd say that's
Exactly.
probably a big
Yeah.
difference. So now that you guys are kind of like conquered that whole adult film, I don't say conquer, but like stepped up your game in that adult film industry. And we know we're trying to move to YouTube a little bit, and I've been helping you a lot. So, what are you thinking like next for Sparks Go Wild? Like, I know we're trying to like move into merchandise a little bit. Like, what do you guys want to like see Sparks Go Wild go to other than just like vlogs and videos?
I think some music, honestly. We're going to continue the YouTube channel. We'll always be running the OnlyFans. But we are writing some songs, and like I said, we're going to be filming some music videos. We're going to be designing some cool T-shirts and hoodies, and some cool merchandise just for fun, that people will enjoy.
So
But
let's
yeah,
talk really quick about TikTok.
yes.
So I know
TikTok.
I was on you guys, man. I was like, dude, you guys got to get on TikTok. You got to get on TikTok. And like you made a few, and then
Right.
I was almost kind of like a little pushy with it. And then I was like, even like, no, you don't understand. You got to make this TikTok or make that
Right.
TikTok. I know
Right.
me and Stacy, like even one time I said something to Stacy and she got like a real like fiery attitude. Like, well, I don't want to copy people. You know what I mean? I was like, that's what the whole
Yeah.
platform's about. Everyone's just copying
Yeah.
everyone. Like, what are you talking about? So I told you guys to make this TikTok. I was like, dude, I don't know, something about it. Like, you guys got to make it. And tell us what happened.
Bam. yeah, overnight that thing got over 1 million views overnight, and that TikTok is now it's up to like 3.7 million views. So that was really cool because that shoved a lot of traffic towards our YouTube and our OnlyFans page. And so once we realized the potential of that, it did cause us it helped us to focus more on TikTok. So we're definitely going to be making more and more TikToks every day now.
So TikTok's definitely must for Sparks Go Wild.
Yes,
Right?
TikTok for sure.
So like TikTok is like that platform right now where a lot of people just don't realize it. Like the organic gain that you can get from it. You know what it is there's more users than there is content makers. That's
Right.
that's the ratio, or that's why that happens. There's more people consuming it than there is people creating it. And that's what causes that huge organic gain. It's like anyone that's watching right now, like if you guys aren't on TikTok and you're trying to build a brand around yourself or a social media influencer, you're missing the boat, right? Did I kind of prove that to you guys?
Yeah, you got to be on TikTok for sure.
Yeah, so it's definitely a big thing. So anyway, I guess we're going to kind of like wrap this up. We were just kind of like quick little first time live broadcast on your channel. Figured it would work all right. We don't know how the sound came out. We don't know what we looked like, but I don't know. People throw a comment below. If it's shitty, we'll probably take it down. But hey, if it looks good and it sounds good, we're going to keep it up. But anyway, so my name's Daniel. I'm with Critical Image Media. I do website design, print media. I help manage Shane and Stacy, and I do that all the way from across the country. So I still live in Detroit. They live in Las Vegas. You guys obviously know Shane because this is on his channel. So what do you say at the end of every video? Please, you guys, if you've at least got this far in this podcast, make sure you subscribe to Shane's YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like button. It makes a difference. And
it does. Yes, we appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, check out our other videos. And if you want to head over to our OnlyFans and check that out too, it's really, really interesting. And I think you'll enjoy that too. There's some funny stuff on there.
So where's the best place to reach you guys? What do we want to say? Probably the website?
Yeah, go to sparksgowild.com. Sparks Go Wild on TikTok, Sparks Go Wild on YouTube, Sparks Go Wild on OnlyFans, Sparks Go Wild on Twitter. Google Sparks Go Wild. You'll find us.
Yeah. Otherwise, though, we did have a little situation where the Instagram got taken down. So we don't know what happened.
But if you search
with that.
Sparks Go Wild on there, you'll see our new one, which is sparksgowild.lv.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We're out.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Thank you, guys.